Welcome to the Solid Signal Podcast for the week of December 17th, 2018. If you're watching this podcast on YouTube instead of listening to it through a podcast aggregator, you might notice that the look of the Solid Signal Podcast's title slide is a little bit different. This is a preview of our 2019 refresh, and you're seeing it on the Solid Signal blog. And if you haven't seen it, it's going to roll out to you very soon. We're in the middle of rolling it out to different segments of the population right now. And it's consistent with the overall look for Signal Group in 2019. If you look at signalgroupllc.com, that's our sort of corporate homepage as opposed to solidsignal.com, the e-commerce page. You can get an awful lot of information and kind of the look and feel of what the 2019 refresh is going to be all about. Geeky stuff, I admit, but hey, if you happen to have a few minutes and you're bored, why not give it a try? Anyway, the subject of this week's podcast is upgrading your DirecTV system, and why haven't you done it yet? You know, it's interesting to me that we have a certain number of people who are out there who really, really love the DirecTV satellite system that they have, and that's great. Honestly, the DirecTV faithful are the ones who are going to keep the company going as some of the younger folks just move over to streaming. So I'm glad that you're out there, but what I don't understand is why you're still out there with standard definition hardware. There are a number of good reasons. There are some okay reasons, but let's talk about it. Number one reason right now that you might still have standard definition hardware is that you've got an RV or a boat and it's very expensive to upgrade that satellite system. Satellite TV dishes for home are almost laughably inexpensive. If you haven't upgraded your dish at home, you really should, because it's really very, very cheap to do it. Also very easy, and we can even help you get professional installation if you're not the sort of person who wants to climb up on a roof in December. I totally get you there. But if you do have an RV or a boat or any other sort of high-end satellite system like that, yes, the cost to upgrade is significant, and I do recognize that. You also probably put in a decent amount of money, not just in the dish, but in older, very expensive multi-switch systems, in receivers that you potentially bought yourself. This is something that is going to have to be addressed. Now, of course, we're rolling into 2019, and what we're seeing from DirecTV is there will be a lot fewer standard definition channels. It's not clear at this point if there will be any standard definition channels by the end of 2019, but it's looking like, well, the move has already begun. It began actually in 2016, and there are already fewer standard definition channels than there were. This means that you just might not be able to see what you saw in the past. You might not be able to get all the channels that you had before. And instead of giving up on satellite, this is the perfect time to just kind of get back into the swing of things. Put in a satellite TV system that's going to last you for the next 10, 12 years, because there's some great stuff still coming from satellite. And if you're looking at a solution for a boat, for an RV, streaming just isn't going to cut it for you, and satellite is really the best option. You know, another reason the people hold on to their old satellite systems is they're just in love with their old receivers. I used to see this a lot in the days when people were just very, very enamored of their TiVos. TiVo put out a DVR for DirecTV back in the early 2000s. I think the last one that they built in large scale was back in 2006. They had DirecTV TiVo back in about 2011, 2012, but never sold very well. But if you're a super TiVo fan and you really just like the way that whole thing worked, even though it's kind of dated by this time, then you're probably holding on to that standard definition equipment. I get you. I'm with you. Or even if you've got just a standard definition receiver, you happen to like the look of it. And that's okay too. Or you built it into a wall, you don't want to get it out. There's a lot of reasons that you might want to still keep that standard definition equipment out there. But I'm telling you, 2019 is going to be the time you're going to want to really change that up. You've probably heard a lot of talk in the last 3 years about how that's coming. Well, folks, it's here. If you haven't moved over to high definition or 4K on DirecTV, you really should. You really should consider it right away. it's time to do it. It's time to give the folks over at Signal Connect a call. Signal Connect is the corporate arm of SolidSignal.com. It's part of Signal Group LLC. Remember I said signalgroupllc.com. Check the website out. Give them a call at 866-726-4182. That's 866-726-4182. And they can get you set up with a system that's just as future-proof as possible today so that you can get on to the business of enjoying your entertainment. That's about all I've got for this week's podcast. I look forward to talking to you next week. I'm kind of thinking of a year in review podcast. We'll see how that goes. And on toward our coverage of the 2019 CES show in Las Vegas, Nevada. That's about it for me. Have a great week.